Hey guys, EST here, and wow, conflict with Iran, what do you need to do? I was going to get into the whole history and justification, both sides and all that, but that's just politics. This is a prepper channel, so what do you need to do? Well, there's a couple things you need to understand. One, Iran is the second biggest in the Middle East, I guess, if you count Egypt. That's North Africa, but sure, Middle East. I mean, it's in the middle, it's east. But they got 115 million people. Iran is 90. Saudi Arabia is 35 million. So it's 3 Saudi Arabias. It is huge. I had absolutely no idea of that until somebody told me that last week. So this isn't just a Middle Eastern country. It's just not another dinky little Iraq, whatever, which Iraq actually has 39 million. It's the Middle East. Iran is the Middle East. If you look at all of history, go back to Persia, it's the Middle East. Israel to Persia was it. That's where everything went on. But they're huge geographically and they're huge population-wise. I mean, the U.S. only has for sure under 400 million, high 300 millions. So we're only 3.5 times bigger than them. So they are gigantic. Also, they've got pretty modern tech. I mean, it ain't no Saudi Arabia or Egypt, but it's close. They have military communications, computers. If I were to compare it to Africa, a really poor African nation, something you've barely heard of and say, oh, they're going to invade America. With what? They barely have working computers. Infrastructure is crap. They're still working on electricity to be stable over there. So if you're oh, Iran, I don't think they have very much technology. No, they do. They got a lot. I mean, they got a lot. You might see a marketplace and say, oh, that's barbaric. Nothing has changed in the last 4,000 years. Oh, they're riding around on 80s era mopeds and they don't have any kind of infrastructure. Oh, they do. No, they do. It's very military heavy and military oriented. However, they don't have a way to come here. If they said, we're declaring war on America by ourselves, which that's suicide, but I'll get into why they would do that. They don't have a single boat, submarine, or airplane that is a military craft that could come over the ocean and come say hi to us. We might as well be on the moon, okay? I don't think they're going to take 52 people all decked out in military stuff and be okay, let's go to war. Oh crap, how do we get there? Okay, let's go on travel website and let's go on Spirit Airlines or something. Save the budget. Let's just book a flight. Nah, bro. They literally cannot reach us. We might as well be on the moon. So literal Iranian invasion of America. You're out there buying more ammo, bulletproof vests, and night vision and armor piercing. No. Just no. You should kind of have that stuff anyway if it's in your budget, but if you're I'm going to stretch my budget, put it on a card because I need it right now because Iran's going to invade America, they quite literally cannot. Now that said, there's already Iranian agents here. I mean, look up the CIA reports. They let them in the last 12, 18, whatever years. Open borders, yeah, they came right on over, and they're sleeper cells, they're hiding. And if they ain't Iranian, it's their friends. So, yeah. They also don't have intercontinental ballistic missiles, so the whole they're gonna get a nuke, that's pretty much Israeli propaganda. It's meant to be super, super scary. Now, they are enriching stuff past what they need for nuclear power plants. They were doing it, one, because they know that oil ain't gonna last forever, because they're a little closer to that. Two, they did it just to anger everybody else and aggravate everybody else and look important. And then, like I said, kind of this 2B, to get attention, power, and influence. Because Kim Jong-un is constantly I've got a nuke, we got a nuke, we tested a nuke, we've got it, oh, missile test, look at us test another missile. They'd never use it. They fired one thing at Japan, the whole world would turn them into a radioactive parking lot. That would be the end of it. They're stupid, they're out of touch, and they're lunatics, but they aren't that stupid. Neither is Iran, because Iran is just run by basically Islam, whereas North Korea is run by a literal crime family, the mafia, called the Kim Jong-un family. And they are very delusional, and they themselves don't know what's going on in the world that much. It's crazy land over there, and they're just saber-rattling idiots who are trying to play global politics. So they got a nuke so they could scare everyone, not use it. I would put that times 10 on Iran. So people are saying, well, dirty bomb then, because radiation and uranium and refinement equals dirty bomb, right? And you could just sneak that through the border, which, I mean, formally, yeah. You ain't getting it through a scanning checkpoint at one of the ports, I'll tell you that, but last, 10, 20 years, you didn't need to. But they're just starting to refine stuff to that level now. Now, I heard they're refining uranium, because that's what you use for fuel, and they have a whole bunch of nuclear power plants. Let me just correct that. First of all, had. Now they got some decorative statues / museums and no fuel. So, oopsies. Shouldn't have done that. But they have been openly saying, we're going to build a nuke and we're going to use it against Israel. Well, okay. If you want a place back, you want to take it over, not just destroy it, then you probably wouldn't want it to be radioactive. But then again, people live in Hiroshima. And they ain't building a 10 megaton nuke either, okay? It would be some little tactical grade thing about on par with World War II. So the radiation would be at safe levels within enough time that they could move back in, except I think they know darn well the rest of the world wouldn't let them. Now I'm going to circle around back to why they might still do that. Like, why would you fight a battle? Why would you build a weapon? Why would you have this army and all this stuff and do all this stuff and sponsor the Hamas attacks and all this crap if you can't win? What is the point? Why would you go up against someone that could just snap their fingers and destroy your whole country? I do have an answer, but I'll just tell you for now, just keep in the back of your mind that there is an answer. So big scary nuke flying to U.S.? No, I don't think you have to get your potassium iodide tablets and build a bunker, all right? Iran ain't launching a nuke at us. They don't have aircraft that could get here. They don't have a missile that could get here. They don't have anything that could get here. And try to smuggle an entire nuke through our ports nowadays, good luck. So missile, no. Dirty bomb, how about that? Well, you use cesium, not uranium. I think you can use uranium to make cesium. Don't quote me on that. I don't think they have the tech to do it, but I don't think they have anything that could build a dirty bomb. I don't think you get from A to B there. I think the media is kind of getting that wrong and on purpose because it's like, once again, been traced back to Israeli propaganda. I don't blame them. You're at war. You think you're right. You want everybody on your side, so you exaggerate the truth and put out stuff that's a little flowery, okay? Everyone does it. The good guys, the bad guys, literally everybody. Just be smarter than it. Don't fall for it. So it's all a made-up threat. This is WMDs in Iraq again, and we're going in because why do we need oil? Do we need anything they have? Does Trump really want another war after he's the anti-war president? Like, do we have the budget for this when he wants to cut the budget? Nothing about this makes sense unless you think, well, he feels like we have to do it. And now they just dropped the bunker busters, so we are like officially involved, okay? He must have had some very good, believable intel. And remember, second presidency, not the first one, he doesn't believe anyone. He second guesses everyone. He just assumes everybody's lying to him because that's all they did to him the first time. I think a lot of his advisors are really good people. Not all of them, a lot of them though. And he wants to be popular and the midterms are coming up. So everything screams Trump would not have dropped the bunker busters on them unless we had a darn good reason. Other than just he's conservative American and allegedly Christian, and so thus doesn't agree with, I guess would be a very big understatement, the whole fundamentals of Islam, at least, especially the way that they believe it in Iran, which is the Shiite version or whatever. Shia, whatever it is, the really violent evil one. They're both, but the more violent one. The one that believes, let me just quote it, the end of times will not come until the Muslims fight the Jews, and the Muslims will kill them until the Jews will hide behind rocks and trees, and the rocks and trees will say, O Muslim, O servant of Allah, there is a Jew behind me, come and kill him. To paraphrase the rest of their beliefs, the end of times won't come until the Muslims are attacked by everyone, and beaten back to like almost near complete annihilation, and then they rebound, they come back, and then that triggers the end of days. And that is why they don't care if they attack America. They attack the big guy. They don't care if the whole country gets leveled because that's the point. That's what they're trying to do, is lose. Because that will trigger them winning in the end. Because I guess like Allah will feel bad for them and come back or whatever they believe. Complete and utter copy-paste job corruption of Revelations, just like their entire religion. It's just copying Christianity, except with the gigantic, like, I hate women, everything's your fault, greed, like, you embarrassed and insulted my family, now I'm gonna, like, revenge kill you, and that's perfectly acceptable. Like, just crazy, evil, satanic, disgusting corruption of Christianity. Complete and utter false copy, but the opposite. So that's why they would fight an uphill losing battle, is because they believe that that's what they need to do. That's fine because that'll trigger the end of days. And they've been assured they will win in the end. I can assure you they do not. So why would they attack America, but do they have the capabilities? So that's where there's a disparity. It's like, yes, they absolutely would. People are like, well, they'd just be crushed. So they don't care. They strap bombs to themselves and blow themselves up, okay, because of their religious beliefs. They don't really do like cold, hard, scientific, I can see it in front of me right now, logic, and like tactics and math, because they're just like, well, it doesn't have to add up because I've been assured that it doesn't matter. So what type of attack? I would say fear. They want the majority of Americans to be afraid of them and to pressure the government into not pursuing attacking them or anybody else who shares their beliefs. And that would be a high fear event, which would be a radiation event. And that's why Ray keeps talking about them. But it's not like Iran's going to somehow get a hold of a missile capable of going up into space and dropping down on us. That is ridiculous. So, what should you do now? That's the topic of this video. Should you go out and get a bunch of anti-nuclear, anti-radiation stuff? Ventilation, chem suits, window seals, iodine tablets, all that? No. In fact, there's one thing people have been saying that's like, hey, if you want to go out and do something, do this. So one thing I've heard about that people are suggesting that you can do right now is go grab a 5-gallon container of gas, fill it up, put some stabilizer in there, and, keep it just in case. Now, this may shock you, but we don't buy oil from Iran. But the whole world is a global market, and if we don't buy from them, then they'll sell to someone else who then doesn't have to buy from the people we buy from. So it's all one pool. And we've all heard, X amount of oil comes through the Strait of whatever, who cares? Let me tell you why that doesn't make sense. We sent the aircraft carrier out there for a reason. Anybody messes with oil shipments, the entire developed world is going to absolutely blow you back to the Stone Age. Also, most of Iran's money comes from oil exports. So why would they want to threaten their own shipments? Now, the whole, it'll harm America, and so we're going to do it even though it would harm us, okay. But whether or not you think that's realistic, what you do have to worry about is how completely unintelligent, skittish, and clueless the average Wall Street investor is these days. The average hedge manager just uses AI to scrape news stories. Something about Iran, oil, and there might be an oil attack. The word oil and attack occurred next to each other in 5 articles. Bye. It's all the speculators. It's all the people buying futures, securities, all that stuff backed by oil. And what would really happen if there was a shortage of some kind is the rest of the producers would just up their production by like 1% and there would be just a little blip. But in the short term, that's not going to stop all the speculators from buying up oil and driving up the price. So if you don't mind it, costing $8 to drive work instead of $4, then you could just eat that up or work from home 1 day a week or something and then just ignore it. It's not like there's not going to be gasoline. It'll just be more expensive for a couple weeks and then people will get over it. But okay, so you go buy a $20 container because those certified containers are really stupid expensive. Then, if you're going to long-term store gasoline, you really should buy ethanol free. You don't absolutely have to, but you should. And that costs $1 more per gallon where I'm at. And then you got to put the stabilizer in it, which enough to stabilize 5 gallons is about $3.50. So I've now just purchased $10 a gallon gasoline before it even hits $4 a gallon in the Midwest. Okay, so that's just causing the problem that you just said you're avoiding. Also, gasoline storage is really unsafe. So, people do it because they're like, I have to be able to get to work, I have to be able to drive, or I can't go anywhere, do anything, get my prescriptions, go to the grocery store, whatever, which, come on, you don't have canned foods around the house and dry goods, what are you doing? But I seriously doubt that it would get to the point where there's not fuel at all in really any part of America. I don't see that kind of disruption, even after Biden stupidly drained the entire U.S. strategic reserve. So no, I wouldn't go buy a whole bunch of gasoline and sit on it just in case the price goes up, because that is so illogical. However, if there was a massive economic disruption of any kind for any reason that might affect it, you really should have 5 gallons sitting around just in case, so you could drive, X amount of miles in your vehicle. So I would do it anyway. It's just, would I start right now? Not because of this, but like separately, yes. So, you do you. Other than that stuff you need to do right now, like this next week or like tomorrow, nothing really comes to mind, but I'll hit on some medium stuff that should be on your radar generally. Now, could they just take 100 people and poison 100 water supplies all around America with like cyanide or something? I don't know, maybe. I don't know how viable that attack is. Nerve gas in an enclosed area, kill thousands, like happened in Japan. Just a whole bunch of just bombings everywhere, nonstop bombings, so much that, like, you look at the FBI trying to find, like, one bomber or, like, the DC snipers or something. Now, imagine that times 100, they're trying to track him down, and then, well, there's 1,000 suspects. And they all came in undocumented while they opened up the borders so that the Democrats could try to rig the vote. That's why we are in trouble here, potentially. Now, should you just be afraid, not go out, not go to gatherings? No, I think live your life. I think it's very, very unlikely that they would directly attack us. They've actually not even said specifically, if you do this, we will come to America, or we'll have our people that are already hiding here do this, that, and the other thing. You better watch out. We're everywhere. Ooh, scary. So what would Iran do? Maximum damage. I don't think they're going for fear because, like I said, they haven't actually said, hey, you hit us, we're coming for you in the homeland with all these crazy guerrilla attacks. We're hiding amongst you. Rawr, scary. So I don't think they're going for fear. They would go for pure damage. So one, EMP. I mean, that's really outside the capability of almost anyone. I mean, that would be tough to pull off a pure EMP weapon that doesn't use a nuke. You need energy densities and technology that I think is far beyond them, and I'm not sure that America even has EMPs right now. But man, you light one of those up somewhere, oh boy, that city not having internet or something, you do that to New York or somewhere in California, LA, a port, got to rebuild all the computers and systems from scratch, you're down for months. Billions, hundreds of billions down the toilet in lost revenues and just economic crashing. It would be horrible if we got EMP'd, but they don't have one. And they can't get one, in my opinion. Some kind of computer virus thing. We're too sophisticated and they're not China or Russia. They've been trying and we're not as vulnerable as they think. If they had it, they would have done it already. And if they did unleash something like that, Microsoft would just like turn their computers off basically. And then they'd have to operate the minimal businesses and technology and everything they have and all the flights and every little computer controlled everything in their whole country without computers. Good luck. So what would they do? Light a wildfire. I'll circle back to that one, but if they don't care about fear, we wouldn't even know they did it. There would just be an unknown source started a wildfire in 10 locations all at once. Put yourself in the shoes of Iran. What would you do if you say, I want to damage America? Train derailers, fiber cuts, cut off whole cities. It takes a day or two to get out there and fix fiber mains. Takes a lot longer if you cut it in multiple locations all at once. And then you get this whole data center is down and this whole entire this and that and this is down. Then all of America is damaged. In fact, all the developed world is damaged. Did I mention train derailers? You just go out in the woods somewhere where there's train tracks, nobody can see it, no cameras, and put a train derailleur on the tracks. That was a big, big, big threat quite a while ago. I'm not sure they've ever done anything about it. Maybe AI watching for it or who knows. I don't know. Maybe is that even a thing anymore? I mean, they have derailleurs at work, so do that to a bunch of trains and there goes a bunch of shipments. Go to a grocery store and contaminate a bunch of food with E. coli. Bunch of fruit. Just spray it all. Do it in multiple big cities. Now all of a sudden people can't get food because they don't know what food to trust. That would be more fear than economic, but it would be bad. And I'm trying to think, what could you pull off with 10 people, 100 people? For maximum impact, it would be infrastructure. It would be start cutting power mains. Chainsaw down a power line or something. Or, launch a small explosive with some thermite or something into a substation that feeds into a city. All of a sudden, brownouts, boom. We're already on the edge with this AI crap and electric cars. So the grid's even more vulnerable than it ever was. You want to cost America some money? Switch off the lights in a place where they do a lot of business. It's currently 98 degrees out and I live in the dang North Midwest. So if they cut off the AC, I'm going to be especially angry. No power, no AC. Even I don't have stuff big enough to run that. Can't sleep because it's too hot. Can't go into work because we got no power, no internet. That means I ain't getting paid. We got problems. So what do you have to buy or work around or do about these attacks? Well, that's the point. There's nothing you can do. Don't live in a big city. I mean, once again, if I was Iran and I wanted to do max damage, I would just cause more conflict than we already have. I would do a whole bunch of little tiny attacks that get people a little bit scared and cause, a little disruption in business, knowing darn well that the backlash would be people going after anybody brown or remotely, oh, you look kind of Muslim-y, oh, I think I heard that you're from somewhere in the Middle East, and then treating them poorly. I mean, it happened right after 9/11. And then you'll get the dumb, college kids, the stupid white women with towels wrapped around their heads playing Middle Eastern activists, yay Palestine, waving the Palestine flag, not even knowing what the hell they're talking about. They jump to their defense saying, oh, these conservative rednecks, oh, we got to switch to socialism and somehow also pro-LGBTQ stuff while at the same time Islam. I don't think those go together real well. Call me crazy. And just have all out fights. Let them go disrupt the highways and the this and the that and, close down the cities and burn stuff down. Let them do it. On top of also the ICE protests about, oh, we don't want to, let those drug smugglers go back to Mexico. That would be so bad. You don't need to sneak Iranians into the country to commit acts of terror and disrupt business and economics and scare the country and cause problems if you can get stupid brainwashed college kid idiots to do it for you. And if they're already dumb enough to go out and act right now, they're dumb enough to go out and act and take over a building at their college. Ooh, LARPing, playing terrorist. That would be 10 times more if they saw another thing in the news, an attack on some Middle Eastern person, an attack on this Muslim, an attack on another attack. Their stupid, mangled up, brainwashed idiot brains would tell them to now's the time to really go out and act. and they'd start committing the acts of terrorism. And they'd start attacking the Jews that are in America because, they have already been doing that for the last couple years. All the Jewish students that got attacked on the universities, they got their own Iranians here. They're dumb white women and stupid low IQ rich kids who somehow got into college. So that's what I would do, is promote that discourse. So what you need to do is prevent that by spreading the truth and checking these people on that crap. Don't just say, I don't want to make them uncomfortable. I don't want to discuss it. I don't discuss politics. Nah, get out there and teach them the truth. And don't just attack them. Don't just yell at them. Don't scream in their face, because the whole thing is, I'm a victim and everyone's out to get me. So then if you yell at them and threaten them and tell them they're not welcome in America and they need to change their ways, then they go home and think, I was right. Yeah, that don't work. Tell them why they're wrong, let their brains explode, let them figure it out in their own time. It takes a while to deprogram these cult member morons. So what is Iran going to do about it? We could theorize all day, but what did they say they're going to do? Let's start with that. Because Osama bin Laden said darn well what he was going to do. They said, we'll retaliate because we can strike your bases in the area. All around our country, obviously not in the country, I don't think, but around our country, we could strike your military bases, and we will, is what they're saying. So that's what they target first in theory. They have not said one single word about we're going to commit terrorist attacks ourselves with our name on it and tell you we're doing it in America. And I think they would do that because the whole point is you're not going to overthrow America one guerrilla attack at a time. That's utterly ridiculous. You're not going to make us financially collapse no matter what you do. Other than biological weapons that would make our crops fail. That would be bad. But only really China's working on that, and it's not like China and Iran are, So what is my advisement? Don't live in a big city, which I would have told you the entire time I've been on this channel and before it. Have food and water and the ability to survive with a grid down scenario or a restricted economic environment, which is way more likely than a grid down. So in other words, be a prepper and have your basics set, have self-defense, have what you need so you don't have to go out bartering, looting, or overpaying, triple for something. And, keep your eyes out. If you see something, say something, and don't be afraid to be called a racist just because you see somebody acting real suspicious, at an airport with a backpack that's a certain appearance, we'll say, because that's what they want to hide behind, and that's what they think they can hide behind. But also don't treat people poorly just because and start blaming people for the actions of their government. Most Iranians do not believe in the same stuff as their government does, by the way. I heard, you're going to get a poll out there, but from people who've studied it, lived there, people who used to live there, they're like, it's maybe 10 to 25% support it. Now remember, less than 50% of people supported Hitler in Germany. I think it was 30%, and the suspicion is most of them were lying just so that they don't get locked up. Or they wanted to keep their business or whatever. So it's the people do support them, but most people just in general want to live their life, be left alone, and don't want war. They don't want violence. They don't want a disruption in their business when they're just trying to feed their family and get along. But a lot of real aggressive, brainwashed, angry people who project all the problems and anger and frustration in their life and every failure on whatever their religion tells them to, and the religion tells them it's the Jews, well, then they're going to make very interesting decisions until you just make them shut up or go away. So does that mean I support U.S. intervention? No, we don't have the money. Now, would I just say, I don't like them what they believe, completely unprovoked, let's go nuke them because they shouldn't exist? No. Technically, my tactic, if I was just in charge and that was the case and we're a perfectly stable, flawless country, every single other country in the world has to let in Christian missionaries to at least tell people and then make it completely their own choice. No crusades, no forcing it, no executing, the Protestants, none of that. Okay, that's all Catholic cult crap, and Catholicism is not Christianity. After about the year 300, never was. Popes were corrupt. It's all a joke now. They pray to Mary. They think priests can forgive sins. It is a completely different religion. But like I said, if I had absolute power and absolute everything, I was in charge of the U.S., I would say, you let them in, you let people hear it. If they want to embrace it and fix their life and spread it themselves, then let them. We're not going to force it on anyone, but if you stop the missionaries, you will be stopped. You will be detained, or if you try to kill them, then we'll try to kill you back. I would say that's a pretty accurate reading of the Bible in its entirety. You gotta let people hear it. Don't come against us. Just let it. And if people deny it, then we leave. And if people want to hear it, then you better let them hear it. That's all we're asking. Not, look, Muslims blow them up. That's not good. That is not right. Every single human being on the planet is equally important and valuable. That is one human life, one human soul, and everybody deserves the right, even if their leaders are morons, even if they're the most deranged, serial killing, demented, satanic, crazy person or the most deranged cult member or just whatever can still be given the right to turn it around and change their ways. I don't believe in the death penalty. I don't believe in any war anytime ever. I don't think anybody should be killed for any reason. I barely even believe in self-defense with lethal force unless it is absolutely the last possible thing that you could possibly do and the person directly put you in that situation. Or literally any animal attack or anything similar to that. So I am very pro 2A, just for the record. So compare my beliefs and my thoughts that I think are the most biblically accurate to what is going on right now. So do I think they should stop them from getting nukes? Yes, because they can't be trusted with it because they're evil. They've stated their intent. They're trying to either scare people or, well, I think we're beyond scaring considering they fully supported financially, morally, and cheered on the attack on Israel with the hang gliding and all that. I don't need to talk about it, obviously. They were all for that. That is pure Shiite right there. And that needs to go. But wiping out full like genocide, just get rid of them, nuke the whole country and like 90 million people dead? No. You might say, oh, but in the Old Testament they did that. No, that was like the establishing thing. That was the Old Covenant. Like I'm not going to get into it, but just that's not how we do things anymore. Would be like the blanket statement. So it comes down to defend Israel absolutely because we're just supposed to do that. That's God's chosen people and the Bible says do it. So do it. If you have a slightly different, like, okay, tolerate the Jews and moral support or like full-blown allies, military, let's go. Anybody does anything to a Jew, go blow them up. Anywhere on that scale, I think you can kind of make an argument for that the Bible does say something in between those lines. So when it comes to like how many millions or billions or trillions of dollars is this crap going to cost? What's this going to do to oil prices? What's this going to do to the economy potentially? That's where I'm like, I think the U.S. shouldn't have gotten involved. I would have rather just had Israel do it, but us handing them money and arms that they bought from us anyway, and then just doing a slower method than bunker busters. It's not like Iran's going to say, oh, well, America didn't hit us with the bunker busters, so America wasn't responsible for this. No, we're allies. We give them money. We give them arms. Come on. Did you really think that the bunker busters are the biggest thing ever? And so I don't see no boots on the ground, and I don't see anybody dropping in like Afghanistan and Iraq, okay? This is, hey, you know those nuclear things you had? Had would be the word, yes. And now since you, as a cover, made your whole country run on mostly nuclear, and now you don't have any fuel refineries because you said you're going to build a bomb with it and blow up the Jews, what lesson have we learned here? Everybody says everybody's in line with the government and they're fine and it's not their problem until the power turns off. Everybody supports the government or is at least like hands off or just like, oh, I disagree, but I'm not going to like get involved and overthrow the government until they can't feed their family and there's no food and they're starving. Then it's chaos. And honestly, with the way they've run the country and the way they've just embraced pure evil and an evil culture and an evil false religion, I don't really care what happens to them. They've completely and utterly rejected anything resembling morals, biblical morals, and the way they treat women is unacceptable. The way they do business is unacceptable. The way they do literally anything in their daily life is unacceptable. So if they have to suffer the consequences of their actions under, 50 plus years of Muslim rule, well then, I don't care. What we need to do is not have uranium floating around. My only concern is the amount of money that we're spending on it. So now that I said like, okay, maybe some kind of attack in a populated area and maybe some kind of thing that Iran would be like, we did it, yay, but it's a long shot. What do you have to do? Because, at the second part of the video, I was just going to let it be like, oh, here's my thoughts on the matter, but I'm going to circle back to what should you do. Not much. I mean, just get your basic stuff squared away. Have food, water, and self-defense. I mean, just be a prepper. It's really simple. However, COVID caught pretty much every single prepper off guard because if you don't see it, you don't feel like it's real until it's at your doorstep. And every year it's, oh, this new flu, oh, this new bird flu, oh, this new swine flu, oh, this new H1N1, and none of it ever blows up. Oh, Ebola. And you might think, oh, it's just World Health Organization crap. It's just Big Pharma trying to sell me another pill or another shot. And usually it is. But a lot of this stuff was pretty legit. Like, you look at the bird flu outbreaks in, ironically, the Middle East. I think it was Egypt. Those numbers were getting into the triple digits. That was getting scary. That was human. Like, they didn't even know if it was human to human or human to bird. And if that spreads, you're going to see deaths, okay? COVID was not very lethal, but we saw deaths. It was a lot of millions of deaths. And then some more deaths from other things involved in COVID that I can't talk about on YouTube. And then the lockdowns, and then the spending, and then the debt, and then the inflation, and then the abuse of power. And yeah, nothing good came from that, but nobody saw a biological thing coming. And I think it's because they didn't want it to. Well, let me tell you, If there's a biological event, it's going to ruin the global economy. If there's a shortage on something, it's going to ruin the global economy. If China goes to war with anyone or self-destructs, which one of the two of those is going to happen in the next 10 years, it's going to destroy the world economy. If there's another banking crisis like 2008, it's going to destroy the world economy. If there's a really big weather event, an earthquake and a hurricane like at the same time in America, it's going to destroy the world economy. If there's a whole bunch of small wars and it becomes hard to ship stuff and source stuff globally, it's going to ruin the world economy. If aliens come down and cause a zombie apocalypse and then leave while flipping us off out the window of their UFO and saying, haha, suckers, that's going to ruin the global economy. If the Sasquatches hiding in the flat, hollow earth come up out of the geysers and summon pterodactyls to drop rocks on people's heads, that's going to ruin the world economy. It does not matter what happens. Economic downfall will be the first thing, and if you don't believe me, read the book of Revelations. I'm actually making a whole video on that next if you're interested. Oh, after the solar panel review that I've been promising is coming for 2 months. Oh, and I also have a bug out bake video I'm pending editing, but it's coming soon, so subscribe if you don't want to miss it. And if you like my, intellectual, I hate even that term after Reddit adopted it from their stupid fedora tipping atheists, but if you kind of like the way I break stuff down to justify my opinions even if you don't agree with them, my other channel, which is kind of like a geek culture and gaming channel, a lot of libs over there, they still tolerate what I'm saying because at least I'm not just I believe it because my parents told me to because you're wrong and I want to be angry so I'm angry. I actually back it up with well, here's why I think that. And if you like that, even if you disagree with me, you're in the middle, or you fully agree, or you disagree with 75% of what I said, I mean, my political beliefs are a case-by-case basis. I'm the most independent person you could ever possibly imagine. That said, I don't think a Democrat has been right about anything in their entire life. I just also hate most Republicans too. Who am I voting for? Point me towards the nearest Christian. That's my political party. Never failed me yet, just saying. But definitely subscribe if you like this content. If you made it this far even into the video, you're probably the type of person that should be here. And I do a lot of how-to and gear review kind of stuff too a little bit. So and ultra low budget prepping stuff. But anyway, okay, so let's get back to the final wrap up of what you should do. Gas mask, have that, because wildfires, I mean, think about it. You could just have Iranians go start wildfires when it's really dry. Yeah, that's it. Everybody's like, nukes, dirty bombs, oh, terrorist bombings, car bombs. Yeah, an Iranian with a lighter in the forest. 100 Iranians. And other violent Muslims that they recruited from other places as a cover, or in America. Or brainwashed college students. Get them out in the forest with a lighter. Get them out near the water supply with some kind of poison. Get them with, you can't really just make nerve agents, but you can make mustard gas pretty easily, just saying, one trip to the hardware store. You can do a lot of damage by just setting a building on fire, you know what I mean? You could chop some fiber, you could cut, some mains, you could kill some, the grounding and stuff on a high voltage line, and, one individual person, let alone 10, let alone 100 that are motivated enough could do so much damage to America, it's not even funny. But if that stuff starts happening, it's going to be a fear campaign. It's going to be military spending out the wazoo, attack everybody because we don't even know. You can't just sit back and go, I don't know who it is, we'll try our best to stop it. And it just keeps happening and happening and happening. When what the Muslims want is to be attacked because that is how they bring about the end of days in their religious beliefs. That is the scenario that we could be moving towards. And then put that on top of the solar issues, the power grid issues, the power shortages because of AI and electric cars. Then the 2008 banking crisis and Hurricane Katrina and COVID and everything else lately, we have almost slipped up, and the only way we fixed it was more spending and more debt. The debt problem is not going away. I think after Doge and Trump tried their best, it's pretty clear that it is just literally not possible. Our government is never going to solve it, and eventually the economy is going to collapse either because of solely that or outside sources. Like I said, anything that I just mentioned in that last little set of examples, economic hardship is going to come. Pay off your debts, make more money, move, get out of the cities, have food, have rice, have oatmeal, have beans, have everything DIY. I got all the instructions on my channel how to make your own Mylar packed food kits for dirt cheap. Have water filters, know how to garden, know how to grow stuff, know how to raise animals, know how to hunt, have a silenced 22, just all this basic survival stuff, because you don't have to be 100% self-sufficient. Okay, you don't have to go live on an island in the middle of the Pacific. You're still here in America. We have infrastructure, we have buildings, we have tech. It's not the dang Stone Age. You're not a castaway on a tropical island. So you don't have to go full like homestead because that won't work anyway. Okay, all these homesteaders, ask them how many times they go buy fertilizer, buy antibiotics for their farm animals, or like an antifungal, anti-parasite. How many trips to Tractor Supply do they make? Okay, are they really self-sufficient or are they just playing farm? They're all playing farmer. Okay, they're playing The Sims. They're delusional. It's a good skill set to have, but as soon as the shops close, everything dies, all their crops die, and they can't even get fertilizer. It's a complete and utter fantasy, so it's just going to be who can outlast the rest, if you want to even go out that far. And just keep that in mind, because that is the direction we're going, whether it be this, the next war, the next thing, the next pandemic, the next whatever. The first thing that is going to happen, unless it is literally a meteor strike, is going to be economics. So plan for economics. Downscale, don't buy stupid stuff, don't run up your debt, don't buy a boat, don't buy jewelry, don't buy dumb crap you don't need. Don't be irresponsible, don't get a divorce, work your stuff out, get therapy and read your dang Bible. Fix yourself, fix your relationship, be a better person, get your network. Don't be an isolated person, because everybody's so dang isolated in 2025 with the internet and all this stuff. Nobody wants to go anywhere, do anything, say hi to anyone, call anyone, talk to anyone. They just want to watch Netflix, play video games, and just dopamine. They want to doom scroll and then hear about the end of the world so they can say I was right to absolutely nobody when all comms go down. Don't be that type of person, okay? Live your life, improve your life right now, and be prepared for the first wave, which is going to be economic hardship. I absolutely guarantee in the next 20 years something will cause the global economy to crash in a way that you can't really easily come back from. Whether it be China collapsing, war, conflict, a new biological thing, some kind of giant global trade disruption, or us just running out of lithium or oil or plastic, which, also petroleum. The population getting too high, just whatever it is, a horrible economic situation will be the first part of it. That is what you need to plan for. Will we go full Stone Age, everybody robbing each other? We're talking like Walking Dead zombies kill 99% of the population, money means nothing? No, but the Great Depression, a lot of people starved while people right next door were eating. You know what I mean? And it could get worse than that. Look up Syria, look up the Chinese Communist Revolution, where people are like selling their kids to be eaten. Absolutely disgusting. But people will do what they got to do to survive, especially if their religious beliefs or lack thereof really aren't aligned with morality. All you really got to do is outlast everybody, or make it so that, you know what, I got fired from my job, but I'm good for 6 months. Not even with just money, but with like water and food. Okay, you don't need money to survive if everything's too expensive anyway. Nobody can buy anything. So, for example, if it gets so bad that, like, you hear what sounded like a voice among the 4 living creatures saying, a quart of wheat for a day's wages and 3 quarts of barley for a day's wage, and do not damage the oil and wine, then it really doesn't matter how much money you're making, because you probably won't be able to afford it. Whereas if you just grow it yourself, or have your own chickens, or have the ability to hunt, but so does everybody else is starving, so everything else will go extinct. Up your skill set, be the person at your company that you absolutely cannot get rid of. But even if it happened to you, have the backup plan where at least, even though you're not paying your rent, but it doesn't matter because the rent company or the mortgage company, whatever, also went bankrupt, and they're having everybody quit, and they're having trouble with operations, and the internet's failing, and everything's failing, and like literally nobody's paying their bills, and insurance is going down. Just have enough to ride it out. Okay, be that person who's still like, no, I'm good though. Just plan to survive the Great Depression and look up how things were back then. You might think that was pre-computers, pre-this, pre-that. Well, yeah, people have less skill sets. We have like triple the population now. It's going to be worse. People knew how to like sew and stuff and like farm back then. Like they still couldn't feed themselves. And real estate was relatively cheaper back then, like relative to the prices now. So it's only gonna get worse. You just got to be the person that outlasts everybody else. When everybody's just distraught and starving and, let's be honest, committing suicide and other horrible things, resorting to just outright robbery and getting shot by cops or people self-defending themselves, the population just is death everywhere. You need to plan for surviving that, but that comes at the end of economic hardship. So when you see, Iran, I need to get an iodine pill and a gas mask because somebody said something about radiation, that's all I'm going to look into it, you're wrong. All paths of prepping eventually lead to economic stuff first. So, you can have all the food and water you want and all the weapons and all the everything. If, enough to bake a loaf of bread costs a day's wage, you're in trouble. If you can't pay your rent, that's just more stuff to move, isn't it? And you're going to have to sell it. Because during COVID, Everybody couldn't go anywhere. It was the end of the world. Oh my gosh, except you still had to pay your rent and your taxes. Who had that on their prepper bingo card? Well, you better now. Get smart. And if you want to get smarter, subscribe here. So thanks for watching, everybody. More long form content for you about the Iran stuff. A lot of people on my other channel's Discord have been asking about it, actually, which is weird. But at this point, they're more interested in the content over here than my main, which so am I. So thanks for watching. Don't worry too much because it's going to be nonstop, war and rumors of war, according to Revelations, near the end times. I think we're getting there. So, I don't think we're going to see the end of war unless we see the end of Muslims, to be perfectly honest. And they aren't going anywhere. Look at England. I think we're seeing a trend, and I think it's setting up for a very bad situation. So cover your bases, get yourself right, and I'll see you next time.